Hey YouTube, James from the Wagon Watch here with another deck profile. This one is now number 48 from my deck collection. It's one that I've had most of the cards for a wee while, but I've got to give a shout out to Sacred Cards here for his inspiration with regards to his deck profile that he's posted. I'll make sure there's a link in the description. Really just to say, because when I watched his profile I thought, hang on a minute, I've got most of these cards. And obviously I had to get one or two extra pieces to finish it off, but on the whole we have most of it, and I have now completed the deck. So obviously see what you think. The usual thing, obviously I'm not a competitive player when it comes to Witchcrafters at all, but I wanted to give it a whirl, so this is the sort of build I've ended up with, and see what you guys think of it. We'll start things off with Witchcrafter Schemata, where basically all the level 4, level 3, level 2 and level 1s all basically have the same effect, which is during the main phase. As a quick effect, you contribute the card, discard one spell and special summon one Witchcrafter monster from your deck. So that's non-level specific. And like I say, the level 4s, 3s, 2s and 1s all have that same effect, but they then also have a graveyard effect where we can banish, well this one has, you can banish the card from the deck and send one Witchcrafter card from deck to graveyard, which obviously means you can then go ahead and do the same thing again with them, and by banishing it to get a different effect off. So that's the first one. Great looking artwork on these as usual. This is why I sort of wanted to put them together in the first place, but really, like I say, never got round to it until I went and saw this profile. So this is one of the new ones, of course. This is Witchcrafter Jenny. Usual starting effect, but you can banish this one from the banish this card and one Witchcrafter spell from the graveyard. This effect becomes that spell's effect when the card is activated, so you can just get an extra Witchcrafter spell effect off if you need to. We've also got two Patoris. This is the level 3 of the deck, of course. So again, usual effect, but then you can banish this card from the graveyard to draw a card, and then send one Witchcrafter card from your hand to the graveyard. But if you don't have any Witchcrafter cards, you'd have to banish your entire hand. So just be careful when you, of course, using that particular one, hence it being at 2 and not at 3. And then this is also one of the newer ones. This is the, oh no, that's Pottery, sorry, hang on. Oh, Pittery and then Pottery. So yeah, we've got two slightly different names there, but you need to get used to which one's which. But this is the level 2, of course, again, usual effect. But then if you have no cards in your hand, you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target one Witchcrafter card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So again, just a little bit more recursion available with those. Now obviously, because we are special summoning from the deck, there's a number of, well, I've got 4 one-offs basically, which are these, which I'll run through their effects, because these are the guys that you'll be bringing out depending on the situation that you're facing. You might have seen 1 or 2 of these before, but you might not have seen Hayne and Adel too much. But your opponent cannot target other spellcaster monsters you control with card effects. And quick effect, you can discard. Bear in mind, you can obviously special summon these as a quick effect during your opponent's turn. So bear that in mind when I'm reading these effects out. You can discard one spell, then target one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. Edel is quick effect, you can discard one spell, special summon one Witchcrafter monster from your hand, except Witchcrafter Edel. You contribute this card, then target one spellcaster monster in your graveyard, except Edel, and special summon it. Again, so if you've used one of these perhaps in the past, it's sitting in your graveyard as it is, Edel will get it back out again. Madame Ver is during demo calculation, if you're a spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster. So if your spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can reveal any number of spells with different names in your hand, and if you do, your battling monster gains 1,000 attack and defense for each card revealed until the end of the turn. And also as quick effect, you can discard one spell to negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn. nice. And obviously it's big booty on that one at 2800 defense as well. And then Golem Ururu is when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a spellcaster monster I control, or attacks it for or targets for an attack. Quick effect, you can target one card your opponent controls or one Witchcrafter spell in your graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, return that targeted card to the hand. You can only use each effect of Golem Ururu once per turn. And once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, you have to return this card to your hand. So like I say, they've all got their individual effects, but this is what you get the deck for though, because obviously they're fantastic artwork on some of these. Hayne's absolutely brilliant. If you look into the detail on there, you can see sort of what's going on, but they're all Witchcrafters. That's the idea, or a slightly different look. That one's very much a witch, isn't it? But that's why I wanted to put it all together, really. A couple of support cards, just 2 effect veilers. Got these in the Platinum Secret Rare again. Really cheap now, but actually I think they look great. Just having the little hollow surrounds around the text. But we all know what effect veiler does. But obviously with it being spellcaster, it fits the deck, of course. And there's a couple of synchros that we can potentially go into. And taking the idea from Sacred Cards himself, I've added a Blazing Cartasia, the Virtuous as well. But everyone's familiar with that card, of course, but I just thought, with it having a couple of fusions, it's a nice addition, just like Sacred Cards thought so as well. Okay, so on to the spells, of which there are a fair amount, of course. On the first, of course, is Holiday, which is one of the original cards. So target one Witchcrafter monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So it's a reborn basically, but during your end phase, if you control a Witchcrafter monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card back to your hand. So that effect is pretty much there on all of the spells that are about to go through, so I won't read them all out. If you control a Witchcrafter monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to, I think it's during the end phase, isn't it? Yeah, during the end phase indeed, yeah. So same goes for this one, which is the Witchcrafter Creation, which its main effect, of course, is add one Witchcrafter monster from your deck to your hand, and then it's got the usual end phase effect. 3 also of Confusion Confession, which again is one of the newer ones. I'll read this one out. So fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a Witchcrafter monster. And during your end phase, if you control a Witchcrafter monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can add to your hand. So that's the usual effect again. But obviously it is the fusion option, but slightly different artwork on this one. Gives more of a cartoon feel on that one. Really like that. We've got 2 unveilings. Witchcrafter Unveiling. So this is special summon one Witchcrafter monster from your hand, and if you do, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your spell monster effects for the rest of the turn. And then again, it's got the usual, and obviously it's a quick play, this one, the usual return back to hand at the end phase. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 one-offs. So you've got 1 Collaboration, 1 Draping, 1 Scroll, and 1 Bistreat, sorry. Let's move these a little bit more centrally. Hopefully they're on. They are indeed. So target one Witchcrafter monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Also, if this card attacks, if it attacks this turn, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. And again, the usual end phase effect. Draping is target spell traps your opponent controls up to the number of Witchcrafter monsters you control and return those targets to the hand. And then the usual end phase effect. Witchcrafter Scroll is once per turn, when your spellcaster monster destroys a monster per battle, you can draw a card. And you can only use one of the following effects of Witchcrafter Scroll per turn, and only once that turn. So you can, if a Witchcrafter monster you control is if a Witchcrafter monster you control would discard to activate an effect, you can send this card from the field to the graveyard instead. And during the end phase, if you control a Witchcrafter monster, when this card is in there, you can place it on the... Also, it's slightly different. You can place this card face up on your spell trap card zone. And then by street is the first time each Witchcrafter monster you control will be destroyed each turn, or by battle or card effect it is not destroyed, and you can only use the following effects of Witchcrafter by street per turn, and only once that turn. If a Witchcrafter monster you control would discard to activate an effect, you can send this card from the field to the graveyard instead. So both the continuous spells have that effect. And then during the end phase, you control a Witchcrafter monster while this card's face up, and you place its face up on your spell and trap card zone. So they both have the same after effects, of course. So just so everyone understands, including me for that matter. Onto some more generic stuff. So I've got Secret Village. Obviously it's a full spellcaster deck, this one. I love a spellcaster deck. If you are running spellcasters, this is always a good option, of course. Most people will be fairly familiar with that, of course. I'm also running Spellbound, which is one of the first times I've run this in the deck. I've actually run it in my Gravekeepers as well, but I just thought it's appropriate. Obviously, it's the name with it being a spellcaster deck again. All face-up monsters your opponent currently controls cannot be tributed or used as material for a fusion, synchro, XE, or link summon until the end of the turn. So you need to be careful when you fire this off. Obviously, you'll have it face down most of the time, and then play it when you think they're obviously going to go into something else. So just need to be careful when you use it. Two more. So we've got Magicalized Fusion as well, and also Reasoning. Magicalized Fusion, obviously that's a fairly obvious one, but obviously you can go for the Witchcrafter monster and or what's his name again? Quintet Magician, of course, is in the extra deck. I'm sure it's not going to be a huge surprise. And Reasoning, of course, because there's a number of different levels in the deck, Reasoning is always a good option to go for, because you'll get the extra special summon more times than not. Just the two spells as well, so going for both the Witchcrafter spells. As you know, I like to run as much of the archetype stuff as possible. I just thought one on this occasion of each though. So you can, Patronus, you can target one of your spellcaster monsters that is banished or in a graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add one Witchcrafter spell from your deck to hand. And if this card is in your graveyard, set the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card, then target any number of your banished Witchcrafter spell or spells with different names, add them to your hand. And then also you've got Masterpiece, which is if you control a Witchcrafter monster, target one spell in either graveyard and one card with the same name from deck to hand, and then during the deck to hand, and then during either player's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card and any number of spells from your graveyard, special summon one Witchcrafter monster from your deck whose level equals the number of spells banished to activate this effect. Again, a bit of a mouthful, but you got there in the end. But again, fantastic artwork on that one. Probably name them all if I got used to it a little bit more. But those are the two spells. That's it for the main deck. Onto the extra deck, of course. There we go. So we're running 3 copies of Witchcrafter Vice Madame, because she's ace. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant artwork. I'll put these down here actually, just so, because it's a 3 off, I suppose, isn't it? But yeah, absolutely brilliant artwork. This is sort of what persuaded me to finally put it back together again. Brand new out of I can't remember the name of the set again, but you only need a Witchcrafter monster and a Spellcaster monster to make and then when a spell or effect or non-fusion Spellcaster monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of Witchcrafter Vice Madame once per turn. So destroy one card on the field, special summon one level 6 or lower Witchcrafter monster from your hand or deck, and add one Witchcrafter spell trap from graveyard to hand. So you just need to be fully aware of what you need at any time. But 27 attack and 28 defense is always very, very useful. Okay, so just the one other fusion card. So as I mentioned before, Quintet Magician. Why wouldn't you, I suppose? and then onto links. So just starting with link 1s, I've got Clara and Rushka. They've been in my collection a long time, to be fair. I've never really had a massive need to use it, but I just thought it's a link 1, it's a spellcaster, and we'll throw it in just to make sure we've got an option. We've also, however, of course, got Relinquished Anima, another good level 1, link 1. Onto 2s, we've got my All Faithful Nightmare Phoenix, of course, and a Akashic Magician. We're just going to try and add some of the spellcaster monsters in here. Celine, Queen of the Master of Magicians, you know, she's one of the best ones, I guess. We've also got an Appaloosa in here, both the Goddess, the sort of the newer artwork, which is really pretty. And last for the links, I've got Underworld Goddess of the Closed World as well. Just going for the all-female lineup there, I think. Bit of a waifu extra deck, if you like. Just a couple of Xyz, so we've got let me just move these up a little bit. Just so they're on, there they are. We've got a Slacker Magician, and of course a Downer Magician to go with it. And then just the 2 synchros, I've got Borrowload Savage Dragon, and 1 Enlightened Paladin. I've always wanted to run this card as well, and again, it's not the best card in the world, but like I say, we don't make decks to be competitive. It's a spellcaster and it fits the theme. So we're just making use of the effect veilers being tuners as well, of course. So that is it for the deck profile. So thank you once again for tuning in. I really appreciate your guys' comments. Please do make some. Like I say, it probably won't be the best build I've ever made, but it's really, well, in the testing that I have done so far, it's really good fun to play. But do make the comments. I want to see what you guys think of it. I know Witchcrafters is a popular archetype, and I just wondered whether, without adding too much meta cards, whether it could be any better. Have a look at the ratios, see what you think, if I've got it right, if I've got it wrong. Thanks once again to Sacred Cards for the inspiration, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.